So more and more mental health issues among Utah teens and youth are coming to light, and social media is not helping.
The senior advisor and director of Office of Families, Amy Winder-Newton, is joining us in the sponsored interview to talk about the state's new campaign. And Amy, these statistics are pretty startling. We're in the middle of a national youth health crisis. Talk about how mental illness has increased since 2009.
Well, we have seen dramatic increases, everything from self-harm in emergency rooms to depression and anxiety among our youth. In Utah, we had 53% of our Utah girls who felt persistently sad or hopeless for a long period of time. 53%. We had 1 in 6 of our youth consider suicide this past year. And those are Utah stats.
That's the awful stat.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you
terrible.
know, nationally they're coming out too, but these are local.
Yeah, and only 37% of our Utah youth got at least 8 hours of sleep on an average school night. So you combine lack of sleep, of course they're not doing as well in school. It's causing depression and anxiety, and that's a lot in part because they're on their phones at night. So it's a huge problem. Our governor is incredibly concerned about this, which is why he sponsored this campaign.
So here's a couple more statistics to let you know about the problem. Utah parents say 76% of their kids are using social media in some capacity. 88% of us believe that social media has a detrimental impact on the well-being of our children.
That's right, and that's a good thing that that many parents realize it. That's why the state of Utah is doing this campaign. We need parents to understand the harms of social media for their children.
Well, you talk about the differences between boys and girls. It's often the girls who are more affected, but both are susceptible.
Yeah, absolutely. We see increases in mental health issues among boys and girls. Young women are definitely more susceptible, and it's about the time that they're going through puberty that it's especially dangerous for them to be on social media.
All right, so there's a new state campaign. We were just talking about it last week. The governor launched this about the harms of social media. What is the campaign all about? How can parents take part in it?
So we've got TV ads where we're showing a child looking at their phone and they've got a mask on. It shows a smiley face, and then you see the mask come off and they're crying underneath. And a parent's there to put their arm around the child, take their phone away, and provide that support. But what we're trying to show is parents don't often know the harms that are happening and what's really going on inside their children as they're looking at all of these negative messages. We deal with predators, bullying, so many problems with social media, and their brains just aren't mature enough to handle it.
I read something that children have a hard time processing seeing a parent scrolling on their own phone because they don't know what the parent is looking at, and it can feel unsettling to them. But it goes both ways. You don't know what your kid is ingesting and taking in.
Yeah.
You have some tips that you can tell us.
Yeah, so the first one, establish a family media plan. So get those boundaries set, be very open with your children on what those are. So for instance, when we had young adults at our house, we had the rule they had to have their phones checked into our bedroom at a certain time each night. And so they would come, plug their phones in. We'd make sure that, that they were there. And that was a good thing because they could go to their rooms and go to bed and not have that distraction. Establish a time period. We encourage parents to look at not having their children use social media. So if you need to wean kids off of social media, have an iPad or something that the parent owns and give them 30 minutes to check their social media, but don't have it on their phones.
I like that you call it a tech-free zone.
Yeah.
Like, this is the zone where you can't get on your technology. It's dinner time.
Yeah, and that's the second one, is that establish these tech-free zones so that you have times as a family where you don't have any devices. And parents need to set the example, which is the third tip. Kids are taking their cues from us parents, and nothing harms a child's mental health more than having to compete with Instagram or TikTok for their parents' attention.
Yeah.
The fourth one is consider talking to your kids' friends' parents and establishing shared normal behavior for your children. Which apps are you going to let them use so that they're not alone? A lot of kids say, well, everybody else gets to do this. But if you can work as parents and decide, hey, this is how we're going to have our kids communicate, we're going to have them text each other, and we're all in this together, so much easier.
And then you say reconsider the age where you let them start dipping a toe in social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Our governor doesn't allow his daughter to use social media. She's 16. He's seen the stats, he's seen the data. He's like, no, we're not doing this. Even our Surgeon General came out this year, said this is harmful for kids. 13 is way too young. Look at 16, 17, 18, depending on your child's maturity.
Amy, what would you say to parents who say back, it's just too tough to control it this way?
Yeah,
Because I'm sure you've heard that.
it is hard.
The kids don't like it. There's pushback.
Right, there is. And we would say to parents who have preteens, here's your warning. Please consider not letting them use social media at this time. And those parents whose children are already on it, figure out how you can do the weaning off with another device being their social media with a time limit. So
What good tips and
Yeah.
reminders. And really, too, modeling that behavior. That one got me the other day. Link brought my phone to me and he was like, here's your phone, Mom. Like I had forgotten it just in the other room. And I was like, oh, I don't need that. So thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Socialharms.utah.gov. That is the website to go for more tips, parents out there. And our thanks to the state of Utah for this sponsored interview. Good reminder, Amy. Good
Thank
to see you.
you.
So, Ray, what's next on the show?